What up, boys? Intro music this week, Friends by the Beebs. Unquestioned the most talented person in music right now. Don't really think that's a debate. Standings this week, taking a look at it. You got Luckbox and MAGA doing what they do, Trampus and Adam up top as they have been all year. Some other things here. I think it's going to take 6 wins and a bunch of points to get into the playoffs. So a lot of teams still alive here. A lot of teams needing to win this week, or at least definitely could use a win. So we'll pause our intro music here. Again, points for, points against, always big difference makers. Taking a look at the league this week, not a lot going on. Adam Brandt. You know, the biggest thing with the Fab is there's no wrong amount to spend on a player if you need to win, and you know that's what the Fab is there for. If you really want a guy, go out and spend $76 on him and go get him. You know, that's what it's for. This week, as always, we are brought to you by the Tesler, Adler, and Wayland Law Firm. What they can do for you is well documented. I just want to add one other thing to that. Additionally, a young woman who I very much respect has taught me many, many things. We'll keep it PG, but Jan Rigby, also Jesse's mother, is wanted to shout out on the pod today. I swung by and gave her the daily dose yesterday. It used to be daily. Now it's sadly monthly. But certainly want to give Jan a shout. Lovely young woman. Like fine wine. Better with age. AB's Areola. You know, there are a lot of people in the NFL. A lot of players in the NFL. And Antonio Brown is the best player in the NFL. Tom Brady, a lot of people say he's the best player. And, you know, hard to argue that. Hard to argue that he's the best quarterback to ever play. But you can game plan against Tom Brady. There have been teams, if you get pressure in Brady's face, you can bother Tom Brady. You know, Tom Brady throws those 3 or 4 yard passes, and it's what he likes to do. He throws 3 or 4 yard passes, and he throws seam routes, and that's pretty much it. He'll throw the occasional go route, especially when they had Moss, but it's Randy Moss, you know, Randy Moss. Straight cash, homie. Antonio Brown's the best player in the NFL because you can't defend him. I mean, look at his touchdowns last night. He caught one on his ear. He caught one in double coverage. Ben just threw it up there. The guy is, you know, I was talking about this last night on a thread. He's Marvin Harrison on incredibly super steroids. And, you know, there have been some really talented wide receivers that we've seen play. Moss, Harrison, Owens, Calvin Johnson. But the guy is ridiculous. And he put a 34 burger on me last night. One of the best games of his career. But he's just unbelievable. And, you know, it's going to be tough for me to come back here in this spot. I went ahead. I'm going to stack the Giants. Just, you know, I thought I was going to do it, but I'm definitely doing it now because I need the upside of Eli. Just hoping for a shootout against Kansas City. The problem with that for me is that Luke also has Tyreek Hill. So, you know, I'm in a really difficult spot to come back here. I really like my chances coming into this. And, I'm going to need, Deion Lewis and Lamar Miller to get in the end zone. I think my receivers actually, I love the spot Devonta Parker's in. DFS, get him in your lineups this week. I think he'll be low owned, and Tampa just can't guard anybody, and he's the downfield guy there. You know, Jarvis Landry certainly been the more popular target for most of the year, but really like Devonta Parker this week and DFS action if some of you guys get into that. Thinking about coming out of retirement and playing some DFS just to get Devonta in there. Luke, you're looking pretty good for this week, which makes it tough on me to make the playoffs. Mr. Luckbox, congratulations on another win this week. Jamal Williams, the guy that Adam Brandt spent the money on. Tough matchup against Baltimore. You know, you see Devonta Adams also there. If you want to get super contrarian, you could play the Green Bay guys. I'm just not about that action boss myself. CJ Anderson, you know, that Denver offense is just total garbage. You know, it's Denver and Cincinnati's defenses could really have nice weeks for people this week. Travis Kelce in an absolute smash spot for the Mighty Midgets. I think for the Mighty Midgets to have a chance here, he's going to need Travis Kelce and Brandon Cooks to have big games. The problem with that is Brandon Cooks will get balls thrown to him from Tom Brady, who is on Mr. Luckbox's team. A lot of people talking about DeAndre Hopkins, and this week he is a guy who usually stays out wide, so that means Patrick Peterson. But into the future, I still see Hopkins as a top 5 receiver even without D. Watt, and just by sheer target volume, the guy's talented. But this week, maybe temper your expectations a little bit at him, just because Patrick Peterson will shadow him unless he gets into the slot, which maybe Houston does that a little bit. But just temper your expectations a little there. Pittsburgh decided to throw to Antonio Brown a lot last night. Le'Veon Bell got cheated out of a touchdown. I believe Chris Collinsworth said, "Remember when touchdowns were just touchdowns?" That was very, very strange. There have been some very, very odd overturns this year. I think Michael Thomas is a guy for Adam. Going forward, is going to start to get into the end zone. They play Atlanta twice in the fantasy playoffs, 14 and 16, I believe. So those are good spots for Adam to start to see maybe that ceiling of Michael Thomas. He's got an 8-point floor. He's been pretty solid. He's just not gotten into the end zone. So I think this is a spot where you're going to want to play some Saints against Washington at home. A lot of people thinking shootout. I actually don't know that I trust Kirk Cousins to get it in that position, but Adam, I think your team. I know the loss of Freeman hurts, but I think some of your receivers are going to be just fine there. Here's MAGA against the Butt Buddies. Butt Buddies had 3 players go last night. Obviously, we have the Tennessee homerism, as well as Juju Smith-Schuster, who kind of came back down to earth. I mean, we knew the guy wasn't the top 12 receiver. That's just ridiculous. Big Ben always makes somebody else look good. But Antonio Brown is he's the man. He's just the man. And it wasn't Juju's night. This happens. This happens in Pittsburgh. Taking a look at MAGA. Derek Carr, Cam's out this week. So he's obviously going to play Derek Carr there at home against New England. This could be a big game for Derek Carr. I'm not a Derek Carr believer myself, but just by default, you like him to get Trampus 20 points or so this week. Leonard Fournette, there's a weather front that's going to come through and impact some of the games around the Great Lake area, and Cleveland's going to see some of that. So notice they've been very, very good against the running back. My concern is for Leonard is that they don't want to risk his health if that field is wet, as well as I just don't know if Cleveland's going to score a single point. Melvin Gordon. The problem for Melvin Gordon is I just don't know that the pass work's going to be there for him. Trampus has ridiculously good running backs, but I do think the ceiling of Melvin Gordon is going to come down now because I just don't know that he's going to see 5-6 catches anymore. They're kind of starting to get healthy with some of those pass-catching backs. Dez Bryant, Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans this week. I actually don't hate the idea of stacking him with whoever the heck, I can't think of his name, Fitzpatrick, in a tournament just to get some exposure to that terrible Miami defense. We don't really have a lot of a sample size, but Mike Evans really hadn't had a big game this year, and he had a lot last year. So I think Fitzpatrick can get him the ball. Mark Ingram certainly has fit into Trampus's team well, had the best game of his career. Hey, we're back. Sorry for that interruption. Had some students who needed my assistance here during my prep, which is very inconsiderate. But anyway, back to Trampus's team. Mark Ingram, best game of his career. You like the position that MAGA's in right now. He's made some really good moves and stayed very, 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 very healthy. So, and that makes a difference. Sometimes it's just not your year, but MAGA's been able to stay healthy. He's added some depth, so maybe he can afford somebody to go down. But love his running backs. Not on Dez myself, but really that's his only weakness. And if Dez Bryant's your weakness, that's pretty darn good. Here's the injury bug in Simply Simple Victory. Injury bug. Rostered a full team this week, and actually Samaje Perine is going to get a lot of work in that game against New Orleans there. Taking a look at Simply Simple's team, he's got Carson Wentz, who is the MVP of the NFL, without a doubt. 17 touchdowns in his last 5 games. I mean, can this dude keep it going? He's been very, very impressive. I feel very, very happy. I'm very happy for Carson Wentz. And they added Jay Ajayi. Like, how do you not smash Jay Ajayi this week if you're playing DFS? I mean, he's just not priced up enough. Dallas, they're a middling defense. There are some other running backs there in Philly, so maybe temporary expectation there. But I just look at those weapons on Philadelphia's offense, and it's a fantastic offense. I mean, they're good across the board and potentially great at quarterback. Todd Gurley. A lot of people projecting shootout this week, and I actually think the Minnesota defense is going to stand up a little bit here and say, Jared Goff, you're Jared Goff. So I don't know that Gurley's ceiling is there. I like Marshawn this week against New England, obviously. And then Tyler has Nelson Aguilar in there with Carson. I actually think this is this interesting matchup, and it's an important one for Tyler's team because if he wins, he's in the playoffs for sure. And Russell Wilson against Atlanta is in a good spot. James White's been getting in the end zone a lot. D'Onta Foreman, I saw the gray out of him. I don't really understand that at all. And John Brown, sickle cell. It's difficult to project injury bug to win this one. But I do think that this is a tough matchup for Todd Gurley, which will be leveled out a little bit because Lynch is in a smash spot if there is such a thing. Just in that game against New Orleans, I don't see a lot of yards, but I think Lynch could have a couple touchdowns, 60 yards, get you 18 points or something. So I like Tyler to win this week, mostly because I just love Carson Wentz as a player. Seems like a very good human being, role model for young people as well for the NFL. I think they need some young quarterbacks to come in and just for the shield for the NFL to kind of have that. Hide your children, shake and bake. Kirk Cousins at New Orleans. Kind of talked about this earlier. Not a fan of that, and I know a lot of people are. And I know that Kirk Cousins is going to be losing and he's going to have to throw. And it's in a dome, so it kind of checks all the boxes. Kirk Cousins is not an elite quarterback, and Alex Collins is in a crowded backfield now. Alfred Morris, Michael Crabtree. Jesse's been really, really unlucky this year, and I don't want to continue to bash on his team because it's not his fault. He just he's dealt with the Zeke thing. He's made some trades that maybe weren't perfect, but more than anything, he's just been really, really unlucky. And he's had to roster 3 running backs from the same team, so he's kind of handcuffing himself there. He's played tight end roulette this year a little bit. Golden Tate, though, and Michael Crabtree, I think I like both of those guys. Again, the Detroit game at Chicago is part of that projected storm that could hit, but I don't know that harms Golden Tate just because he's kind of the possession yards after the catch guy. This will be a big matchup because Hyde has a chance here to still stay alive. He needs to win this week for sure. I think just because of points, he needs to get to 7-6. Jesse just needs one more win. He's got to find a way to get one more win. Looking at Hyde here real quick, Phil Rivers, Buffalo's defense is not good. We've seen them. They're not good against the run, and because they're so bad against the run, you kind of going back to Trampus's team, might like Melvin Gordon a little bit more. But what I do kind of like and is interesting here is both running backs against the Rams. I think this could work out, and this is something I may consider even in DFS. If you can get 3 touchdowns out of those guys, they're not priced up. So I like Michael's team this week just because if Jimmy Graham plays, and I think Julio will play, I don't see an issue there. I think this Atlanta is going to lose the game, and they'll probably lose by 2 touchdowns. But I think could become, if Atlanta can score 24, I think Seattle scores a whole bunch. So I just think where Michael's team is, I've picked Michael to win a lot this year just because he has a lot of players who should be better than they are. He's got a sexy name team, but Julio hadn't been very good. Dougie McBuckets is starting to kind of come on here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the exit music with The Friends by Biebs because it's a fresh beat as I take a look at Lollipop Guild against Nathan Sucks D's Nuts. It's projected total by Lollipop Guild. He got 37 from his defense in his kicker, which is an interesting correlation there. Not always do you see that. Generally, you get that many out of the defense. It's the running game. But anyway, Chris Boswell got him 19. Looking at Nathan Sucks D's Nuts in real good position to get in the playoffs based on the number of points he's scored, based on his lineup this week. I actually really like some of the spots his players are in. Chris Thompson in a rally game. Probably the one guy for Washington I really like this week other than maybe Vernon Davis. Jeremy Maclin's garbage, not playable. Robert Woods has got to cool down soon. I think this is the week. Cameron Brate gets in the end zone this week, I think. Jason's team, Drew Brees is due to smash. Dude is due to just go pound town. DeMarco Murray should retire. He's not good anymore. Doug Martin. Hey, this is the spot for Doug Martin, Jay. I like Jason, actually, this week to win. I think Larry Fitzgerald gets a boatload of targets. Love Zach Ertz all day, every day. Deuces.